Were you able to escape that which, engulfed so many others?
On the morning of the disaster, first of all, we went to school as normal, as we did. Then we got into the classroom. The teacher came in. Then all of a sudden, then there was this loud, like a rumbling noise, very, very loud. We all thought it was like an aeroplane or something coming down, but obviously it was the slurry. We didn't know at the time. But then the walls started cracking, and all this mud, slurry, wet water, I know, so daft. Wet slurry came in. The teacher then got the desk to the window. Now in them days, the windows we couldn't see out the windows because in the old-fashioned schools they were high windows. So what she did, she put a table, small little one of our desks, up against the wall, grabbed the chair, smashed some of the window, held us. Well, she basically not threw us out the window, but helped us out the window. And there was somebody the other side. I learned after that he was the caretaker that was outside. He grabbed us, and we was told to run home. But in the meantime, as he was lifting us out, I just turned to my left, and I couldn't understand where this mountain had come from because we'd only just gone in through the door, and I couldn't understand. So we was told to run home, go home to our parents.
And I mean, obviously, it almost goes without saying that you must have lost friends and others, teachers that you were so familiar with, and for something so absolutely unthinkable and unimaginable. What was once you were out, once that teacher had moved you through the window, and you say you looked back and saw a mountain, what did you witness as the next moments and the rest of the time began to pass?
First of all, I come back to memories in the classroom. That's all we could do was like shouting and screaming and crying. No, we didn't know. But when I was held out through the window, I said I turned left to look at the mud. We was told that, but I just looked back and it was just one big black mountain. I couldn't understand what it was and where it came from at the time. So, so bear in mind, I was 6 years of age. I was frightened and scared. I was on my own, told to run home. So I did. I ran home. I got back down. I was only a couple of minutes or so from where I lived from the school, so I didn't have to go far. I got home. In them days, the front door was always left open, so my mother was in the house. And she said, what's the matter, Gareth? What are you doing home? I said, I don't know, Mum. I said, a mountain have come down to school. And she said, don't be so daft, boy. What's the matter? Where have you been? You were stinking dirty. I was covered in black dust, coal. My trousers up to my knees was soaking wet. And I said, I don't know, Mum. School. She said, don't talk daft. What's the matter with you, boy? So next thing in, one of our neighbours, a couple of minutes later, one of our neighbours had come in, and she said, Reenie, which was my mother, she said, Reenie, there's been an accident at the school. She said, I don't know, there's a lot going on up there. You better come quick. So my mother then, by that time in, all the slurry and everything was coming through our house. It was coming through the front door and out the back door. I mean, this was thick, slurry, black, smelly, dirty water coming through our house.
It sounds just nightmarish. Do you still have clear images in your head? I know that I've read many times about survivors of all ages describing trauma, almost post-traumatic stress in the aftermath. Was that true for you as well?
Yes, I still have not nightmares now, but I always think back a lot of. I'm not saying what could have happened or whatever. No, it was, I survived, but unfortunately a lot didn't survive. I totally understand that, and I just think sometimes, well, why didn't I go with them as well? I was lucky to get out. It was the quick thinking of my teacher, and she was only like something like 28, 29 in them days, that age. She hadn't long passed away. So it was her quick thinking. She didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going on. And that was it. We had to get on with our lives. After the disaster, then everything came, and there was people coming the doors. In them days, if something happens nowadays, God forbid. You have a lot of councillors that come to help you, and, which is fine, which is great. But in 1966, we never had them. We never had council. There was one or two around, yes, I'm not saying, but not as mass quantity as they are today. If something like that would happen today, there you have police guidance counsellors, other guidance counsellors. We didn't have them in them days. There was nothing like that.
Have you remained in Aberfan ever since? Have you stayed? And if so, what has that been like? That passage of time, since 1966 and the tragedy. How has the place moved beyond it?
It have moved. There's a lot of people that have come into the village, and in fairness, there's visitors there basically every day of the week, especially on an anniversary, like it was now on Thursday. You see a lot more people there. They come to visit and they leave flowers. So people are remembering it worldwide, not just around Aberfan or Merthyr. It was a worldwide tragedy, and everybody knew about it. But Aberfan has moved on, but it hasn't moved on. If you get my meaning, I know that seems a stupid answer. It has moved on, theoretically, yes. But for people like myself now then, we'll never forget about it. We were there, and unfortunately, people are actually, that were actually in it now, and some of the parents, they're actually passing on. So the people that were actually in it are dying off. I know I mustn't say that. They're actually dying off. So there's, I would say in about another 20 years' time, possibly more than that, there'll be nobody there like myself to tell the tale. I think of myself sometimes as a bit of a veteran. Then, if you get my meaning, I'm gonna come one day like a veteran, aren't I, of the disaster.